let's start with that movie, Superman, the biggest movie of July so far, at least. The return of Superman to the big screen for the first time in a few years since the Henry Cavill and Zack Snyder versions of it. James Gunn, who is now in charge not just of this franchise but of DC as a whole, takes the reins on this rebooted Superman starring David Corenswet. I'm forgetting her name off the top of my head.
Rachel Brosnahan.
Brosnahan, yeah. Rachel Brosnahan, Nick Hoult, among others that we like. There is a lot riding on this project as the DCU tries to revamp their look and reinterest audiences. It's a risky proposition because the Superman franchise has had some misfires and some hits as well. People really revere different iterations of this character. There's especially a really strong fan base that loves Henry Cavill's work in the role and was not ready to move on from him in the part. Arturo, having seen James Gunn's Superman, what do you think about his vision for the character, David Corenswet's embodiment of him, and the movie as a whole?
I like the characters. I think the cast that they got is good because these really are just, action figures that you're pretty much getting for these roles. Are you going to have a storyteller who's going to say it the way you want it to? And I think, like you were just mentioning, a lot of people are stuck with the last action figure and the last guy who was playing with those action figures in front of the camera. And I have a question for you guys after we get through our thoughts, which is pretty much like, if comics can have so many iterations, can't we have that many? We already have multiple Batmans. We've had multiple Jokers. Is it really that difficult for audiences to be able to see two Supermans up on screen?
Yes.
You think so?
Well, it shouldn't be, but it is, because even in the comic book world, people are like, why the fuck are they doing this again? And it's just because, like, issue ones sell better. So they always want to bring it back. They want to bring it back. People don't like it, but...
People don't like it. They still fall for it. But at the same time, we always have an extra one.
Yeah.
We had the Batman come out when the Flash came out.
People just feel like this guy didn't get a chance to do everything he wanted to do. So I think
there's
that's
two ends of the spectrum, right?
I get that.
Yeah.
There's two ends of the spectrum because there are some people who become really attached to a previous version, the people who don't want to see somebody take over for the role that Henry Cavill didn't get to finish his work in or whatever. Yeah. And then there's people on the other side of the spectrum who are like, ugh, they're rebooting this again. Didn't we just get this a couple of years ago? The people who are not super interested in the property. But I tend to think that most people exist somewhere in the middle where they think if it looks good, they'll see it. And I don't think it's that confusing. Like you mentioned, we've had live action versions that are existing simultaneously with cartoons, and that doesn't really get us too confused about it. I think audiences will ultimately just accept whoever shows up in the movie and says they're Superman in that moment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's just, I don't know, it's mixed. I get both sides of it because I know the other debate right now is that they're looking for Batman for that universe, and everyone's like, why wouldn't you just have it be Robert Pattinson? And it's like, I think they haven't figured out how to juggle that different characters can have different tones and their movies can have different tones because of those different characters. They feel like you're either taking Superman and making him Batman, or you're taking Batman and turning him into Adam West again, which I don't think needs to be the case. If it's a Superman movie, keep it light and hopeful while Batman comes in being all... You don't want Rob in the same universe?
I don't want Rob in the same universe. That's what I'm saying. Why can't we just have them all separate?
That's what I mean. I also don't need a Justice League. Just like
I don't need it either, but I'm cool with people getting it. Like in the comics, people can go read whichever one they want. You want the new one, go get your new one. But here it's still Detective Comics 975, whatever it is.
I don't know. Marvel managed it with Avengers.
And I feel like they're managing it even more now as they're doing all these different universes to a degree. You don't think so?
You think they're doing a better job now than they did with the first Avengers?
Not a better job, but at a certain point, we did not have comic book movies at all.
Oh, yeah.
Eventually, that becomes a thing, right?
Yeah.
The Western leaves, you got the comic book movie. I think the next iteration of that is that you don't have all these cinematic universes as much as you have what James is saying that
I'm fine with
character can jump into anything. But what I'm saying is they don't have to.
They don't
Why
have
not just have their own separate worlds?
Well, that's been the huge complaint now, but like Marvel ended up in this weird situation where they built that idea of a multiverse so firmly and everyone was like losing their mind anytime you got like a little mention of a character. They're like, and then they walk away being like, well, the movie wasn't good, but at least I saw such and such Florpo and I can't wait to see such and such
post-credit.
Florpo again.
Yeah.
And then you don't because they fucked up the movie, so no one cares.
Shout out to Harry Styles.
Yeah, exactly. Florpo.
He will be avenged, Zach.
He will be avenged. Yeah, it's yeah. Go Zach.
I like the characters, and I like the world that he built here for his world. I'm not comparing it to Man of Steel, what came before it. This is its own iteration of what it's doing, and I think it's interesting that it's starting like in the midst of it.
I think
this
it's
isn't
great.
really a Superman solo movie.
No, it's great.
Yeah,
but it is.
It's something that's really refreshing about this one is how in media res it all is to begin with. I mean, there basically is no introduction. When the movie opens, we're already in the midst of a combat scene. You know, there's that really interesting scroll that goes, what is it, 3 centuries, 3 decades, 3 years. Yeah.
No, it went 4. It's been 4 years with the 4, or is that the? That's the other one.
Yeah, it's another one. And it's funny because it didn't manage it. It's like 2 movies that tried to take the same approach to, like, I would say this is a Superman that's, it was like 3 years. So how did this worked? Fantastic Four, in my opinion, did not manage that at all.
Mm-hmm. And we'll get more into Fantastic Four for sure. But I agree with you that it worked really well here in Superman, where we dispense with a lot of the origin stuff that is a little bit plotting. It's setting the table. I know there is sort of this argument out there about, well, does every generation deserve their own origin story? But I do think there is something just sort of culturally absorbed through osmosis almost with some of these characters. And those movies exist for somebody who, like, maybe this is your entry point to Superman, but if you see this and you're intrigued by it, you can always go back to where those origin stories are. Yeah. For the rest of us, it's just, it jumps you right immediately into the action. You don't have to wait for the stakes to get raised. The stakes already begin pretty high. And I think just that immediacy, it was something that felt a little bit radical for this type of, like, reboot. I think I was expecting something to be... I was expecting Superman to take its time a little bit more, and I like that it didn't. Yeah, same. Because I think ultimately it's the charm of these characters and the way that they're written does enough of the heavy lifting. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely gave us, like, because as you're watching the movie, it does the thing right, where it's like, as you're watching, you get little hints of, like, okay, so he's an alien, he came down from Earth, or he came, all this stuff, but then it can just tell the story, and it is, in my opinion, still, like, really focused on Superman, because even with the other characters around, it really is just the focus of how Superman makes the people around him better. And it's cool that you can just jump in with that. It's kind of similar to, like, not to the same extent, but like how Homecoming just didn't bother doing the Spider-Man intro again, because it just didn't need it. We did get the Civil War scene where it kind of sets it up a little bit to understand, like, his motivations as a person. But if you hadn't seen that, Homecoming still serves perfectly as, like, you just get it, you jump in. And I feel like this Superman movie is similar to that. And that just comes down to writing. You can convey a lot without having to be like, oh man, do you remember the time I came down in a spaceship and then I unlocked this crazy ice thing here for my fortress? Like, they don't have to do that. It's like a thing. And if you want to know more, it's almost fun. You get to go home, like, kids get to go home and be like, what is the Fortress of Solitude? How did that show up there? What's going, like, that's actually exciting when you have time to, like, get away from something and look into why something's the way it is while the movie still works as a functioning film.
And the less time that you spend setting things up and explaining things, the more time you can actually spend using them and utilizing them and diving into your story. And I think that was the thing that was so exciting, is that we just sort of got story right away. It's so rare that you get an extended dialogue scene in one of these movies, but one of the really brilliant touches that James Gunn does is within the first half an hour of the movie, we're sitting down with Superman, aka Clark Kent, and Lois Lane, and there's that long dialogue they have where she's trying to get an interview out of him, and that does a lot of the sort of expositional work that you need in the beginning of a movie. But I think more than that, it just establishes who both these characters are, makes them really interesting in their own right, and establishes a chemistry. And that's one of the big things here, is that I thought that there was a great dynamic between so many people in this cast.
So good.
Yeah, I heard that they had, I don't know who it was, but that he had another Superman, but that he read better with Rachel. So that's why they chose him. And I was
really? Because he's like a carbon copy. Like, even his hair just does that. Like, his hair just does that if it's left to its own devices. And he's got the voice. He nails the voice in both sides perfectly. Like, they're like, sure. But then the second he needs to lock in, it's like I'm like, what? That's Superman. That's Superman. Like, it's like, whoa.
Have you seen his YouTube series?
Yeah.
He's got a YouTube series that he started like 10 years ago. And it's just skits that he did online. And you can see him. It's like, oh, you're gonna be a good looking dude. Like, he's still like a,
you can tell
like,
he hasn't grown into it yet.
Yeah, he hasn't grown into himself yet.
Yeah,
but I love all of his other interviews as well. His love for Star Wars is crazy.
Yes,
and
he
just like how he
it.
geeks out about being attached to the project and such. I think it's like definitely worth having his iteration of it.
Yeah.
I think you get a lot of it, especially like Zach was saying, from seeing the relationship between him and Lois years into it.
Yes.
Not at the beginning, but at a point where they've kind of been hiding it. They've had this back and forth of how they tease each other at the office. I thought that was pretty good.
Oh, it's great.
And she's great, Rachel.
She's
absolutely
so great. Because like I never liked Amy as Lois. I'm sorry. Never liked her as Lois. Never believed her as Lois. It felt weird to me.
I love Amy. It didn't really work.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work for the character. And I really do like Cavill in the role. I just don't think he was given. I don't think he was written right. I don't think that anything about that was written in the way. I like Man of Steel well enough, but there's enough issues with it that I'm just like really excited that we're getting this like different version again. I don't know. It's exciting and it's fun and nice. And I love that interview scene because it just so quickly locks you in on like what kind of person he is and like what he's concerned with and what other people are going to think about him doing different things. I think is really interesting and a great direction to take it. And I'm sure it's just going to focus in on it more in the next movie. Cause like, I think one of the last things said, it's all like, if they're calling the shots now, what does that mean for us? So it's like, there's going to be a lot more tension from like political bodies around it.
The Sokovia Accords.
It's so interesting. Yeah, that's what I mean. And he's just going to be like, but I don't understand. I can stop people from dying. Why wouldn't I do that every time?
But that's what's so interesting about this character is that he is representative of America.
Yeah.
The man is drenched in red, white, and blue. And we've kind of had to change it, I think, throughout the years. You've either had a Superman story where he is one with the country. Now it's all these Superman stories where he is against the country.
Yeah.
And eventually
He's for the
I think we're going to...
against the country.
Exactly. I think at some point you're going to have to make it an internal thing where he realizes like, oh, my power is actually the thing that's crossing the line. Because right now everyone wants to be Superman because everyone thinks, if we only just listen to me and if I had all the powers in the world, it would be right. Yeah. And it's interesting because you do have a character who's supposed to be all good. Yeah. Yes, he used his power, but we are all supposed to be like, it's Superman, though.
Are you describing Superman or are you describing Eddington right now? Sorry. That's a later discussion.
That's what it is. In the same conversation, that's one of the big things that Superman has with the monkey meme that's been going around. The idea that people just don't communicate with each other, like you're saying, and the connection with Eddington. And like Eddington, I mean, my man was born and raised. I love how he says, you can't trust those immigrant parents that he had, but those good old red country parents. I do find some of the metaphors a little funny when we're talking about stuff like that. But at the end of it, he realizes, what really makes you an American is that mom and pa can't.
Yeah. Right. I think Superman's actually had to like revoke his U.S. citizenship a couple times. Like he's done that. He's just revoked. He was given
those
an
are
honorary...
interesting stories.
Yeah, and it's
Red
interesting.
Sun? That's a fascinating
I love
take
Red
on.
Sun. That's for those who don't know, it's like instead of landing in America, he lands in Russia and actually does become like a full-on agent of the state because... Yeah, not that America wouldn't do the exact same thing that they had the ability to do.
Exactly.
That's what I mean. To be fair, it would have happened in America.
What would happen?
If the government had found Superman before Mom Pa Kent, he'd be Homelander. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. Speaking more about this iteration of Superman, David Corenswet's Superman and James Gunn's Superman, this is a little bit of like a emo soft boy Superman. He's got a little bit of a wounded ego. He wants to be treated seriously and respected.
Homeschooled.
He's way too upset at Starship.
This is homeschooled right here. This isn't a real punk. This is the kid who thought he was punk.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is adorable in its own right.
It's adorable. He's just way too upset by star shit. That is or super shit. That's like such a bad burn that it shouldn't bother you.
Oh,
but he's
super shit?
Yeah,
I don't like that.
You know I don't like that. He's so bothered by it.
I did like the realizations that Rachel, as Lois has, as she like realizes when she goes to like his room and sees the stuff and goes like, oh, he really like authentically is this corny kid. Damn it.
Yeah, he's always been. Like that's what he is.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this a real band?
No. Mighty Crabjoys? No.
Yeah, because he's like, I saw them tour or have like performances. Are they taking this bit to the next level and just created a fictional band for the DCU.
Yeah, it's a fictional band.
I think if you watch through the credits, the song that plays at the end of the credits is even credited co-writer James Gunn.
I saw he wrote it.
Yeah. They made it for everything.
What's that Amazon show? We got to see the boys perform.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it ever came out.
What was that show?
Shout out those boys from
that
Amazon.
They were good. It was good music.
They were decent. Whenever they release it.
Damn.
But outside of that, I do think that Nicholas Hoult as the antagonizing force, if you do a double feature with this and what's his name was doing, which I'm not saying it's aged gracefully at all. It is still the wackiest performance, him doing the Social Network for Batman v Superman. Jesse Eisenberg, ironically, is exactly what you see a lot of people online doing now, and that was just in 2016. Like not to defend it, it's still just as cringy, but it's like, how do you know that they would be these tech weirdos?
Of course.
Yeah, these geniuses who think that they are the only ones who know what's best for the world seems to be kind of the mode for this generation of Lex Luthors. I really like Nick Holt's take on it, though, as this person who, knows his ego is bruised and is just trying to kind of
great speech.
Just carve out a section for himself, some respect for himself.
I think that's another thing that makes this movie so good. There's just certain villains that are required to be kind of like the counter to the hero, and that's why they're the best ones. It's why the Joker and the Batman go so well together. It's why Reed and Doom go so well together. Luthor and Superman are so interesting, and the way they handle it in this movie, I think, is really good, because you got this person who is just so obsessed with this idea of humanity and being human, and angry that something that isn't human is getting all of the attention that he wants, but he is so incredibly inhuman. And you have this person who's literally not a human having more humanity than most people on Earth. I think it's such an interesting play on things, because a lot of times I think Lex is a terrible person, but he does think he's doing things that are both self-serving, but also he does think he's like, no, I am a gift to this world. Why does no one see that? He believes his own lie.
He's like
Cartman. So I think it's really interesting. Yeah.
I did like that whole back and forth that they had, and where he's kind of like, I think I'm the best human because I'm the richest. I think I'm the smartest. And then you come in. I can't compete with you.
I can't compete with you.
You literally are this other...
Yeah, it's like, it pisses me off when people compare me to Einstein, but at least they're humans, And it's
it was a little bit of a twerpy speech. I liked it. People were like, this is cringy. I was like, well, yeah, he's the villain. He's full of himself. He was having that Get Out speech when he's like, my grandpa almost beat him in the race. That was this man in this movie.
Well, and it's funny because you see that, but there are people that are actually like that. I don't know if you've ever seen chess players being like, do you think you're better than this person? Do you think you're better than this? They're the cockiest motherfuckers in the world. Magnus Carlsen.
The guy smacks something?
Yeah.
Magnus Carlsen. Yeah, and that's the guy,
wild, bro.
That's Lex Luthor.
100%.
Yeah.
Did you guys like the goofiness with it? Because I felt like there was, in that one sequence we're talking about, where he gives this really big speech, and he gives this big speech, and then Crypto does that Loki move on him, where he's just beating him up. Yeah. What'd you think about that?
I liked it. I would have actually liked to have heard Lex say a little bit more before Crypto starts manhandling him. But I don't know. I thought it was good, and I get Lex's response to it makes sense. It's like, don't fucking patronize to me, you big, goof.
Yeah. I thought the goofiness was a good match for the sincerity. To sort of cut
the
against
Rafe
it.
Effect.
Right. There's just an earnest quality to Superman in general, and you either subvert it in one way by making it dark and serious the way that Zack Snyder tried to, or you can subvert it by taking the tension out and making it kind of a goof. And I personally just find the world to be silly on its own, so it makes sense to add silliness to it. For me, and I know that's not everybody's take on the character. I'm curious also, just sort of in that same respect, if you both enjoyed the look of the movie, because that was another thing that was sort of hotly debated over the trailers, and I saw some of the issues with the look when it was shown online, but with compression and stuff, I feel like you're not always getting a really accurate representation of what it'll feel like when you see it on the big screen. When I saw it on the big screen, I thought it was vivid. I thought it was bright and sunny in the way that I think you want from a story about Superman. Yeah, I thought it was quite beautiful.
It felt like hope. It felt like hope was being expressed through the imagery, which is what I want from a goddamn Superman movie. Yes, it's what I want from a Superman movie, especially in a Superman movie where like things are serious, but not necessarily like the serious where it does have to get dark. I guess I don't know. Loved it.
There was also someone made a video showing the compression between the colors, and that the IMAX one does stand out. So if you do see it in IMAX, you are also seeing it in like a higher color profile.
I didn't see it in IMAX, and I still thought it looked amazing.
I saw Dolby. I really liked how it looked in Dolby.
I saw it in dog shit theater, and I thought it looked amazing. So I think maybe some people's theaters are even more dog shit than mine. I don't know. So
potentially.
But yeah, no, I thought it looked great. I think some people just want to complain. So they're going to look for anything. So when people are like, oh my God, it's so vibrant and beautiful, everyone's all like, it looks bad.
Do you all have any criticisms for the movie?
Oh, plenty, sure.
Yeah.
But I think one of my main things is that it worked better than I was expecting it to, because I didn't have the highest of expectations. I think when we're talking about the look, one thing about it is I liked how distinct it was, because I think that we're in a phase, especially because so many of these movies are Marvel, and I think Marvel is all doing effects within the same shop, where there is a kind of sameness to a lot of the CGI, these like very purpley aura looks. So that this movie was distinct in its color palette was nice, and I enjoyed that. I do think a lot of the CGI sort of crossed the threshold from, vivid and exciting to rubbery and fake looking, almost bordering on some of the bad stuff in the Flash movie.
Yeah.
There's just a couple sequences where like the camera's moving really fast and Superman's body is moving very fast.
Yeah.
And it just felt
as bad.
Oh no. It's nothing that's as bad as that one sequence towards the end. But like I think when this movie looked good, I thought it looked really good. And when it looked bad, you could just tell it was like very plasticky CGI.
Yeah, I don't think Crypto looks as good as some people said Crypto did. I was like, I think Crypto looks incredibly fake. So that's
he's
just
a little
me.
Uncanny Valley.
I
love a dog.
Yeah, it's very Uncanny Valley for how people were like. I didn't even end up mentioning it because everyone was like, it looks so good, and I was like, maybe I'm crazy, but no, I don't think I am. My nitpicks are probably just it's messy. There's a lot going on. It might not necessarily be structured in the best way, but like I think the charm makes up for it. I think the highlight moments make up for it. I think the fact that it's actually like, I don't know, seemingly teaching people empathy somehow is like good for it. So yeah, I think it's a movie that's going to stack up and it's going to hold up well, I think. And the fact that it's just continuing to make money at the box office, even though that is not a mark of how good something is. But when you see Fantastic Four drops off a massive amount in its second week and Superman just starts ramping up, that to me speaks to at least the quality or how it's at least speaking to people and kind of like, I don't know, moving them in some way that other movies just aren't right now. So I think that's really cool.
Art, you brought it up. Do you have some criticisms? You seem a little less enthusiastic about this one.
No, I'm kind of even with both of these movies. I feel like both studios are in this realm where they're trying to make a more optimistic. They were more on the more optimistic half instead of like you were saying what Snyder would know and what everybody was. Yeah, this and Fantastic Four very much I feel trying to do something for the whole superhero genre, which is again both of them don't really have this origin. They know we already know. Amanda said something right before, and I know we're going to get into the Marvel talk. It feels like they're having conversations with the audience. Have hope in us.
Yes.
Please come back and believe in us. We will save you, the audience. Just keep buying tickets, please.
It feels like...
Yeah.
And they're wrong. I don't think they're doing it.
Exactly. And I'm worried that like they still think, oh, well, superhero movies are still the blockbuster. Horror is always cheap, but this is where the money will always go into it. They've killed the comedy, they've killed everything else. In order to find it, you're gonna have to see it in these vehicles. And we always talk about like whatever DC, whatever Marvel becomes, will we eventually see the stories that we like wrapped up in a superhero type story, instead of it being its own individual thing. And outside of that, I think that. I don't know how all these stories are going to fit into Superman. Like, I feel like it has a very distinct tone that, again, I don't think the Batman has, which is why I want that to live on its own. But I'm curious to see what Batman they do bring in that's going to fit into this. How's the Green Lantern world going to be? How are the rated R projects going to be? Which I guess he's technically already doing with Peacemaker, which is a part of the universe.
Yeah, because Peacemaker does feature in the movie, so there's no denying.
I also was a little bit more surprised with it. I like the joy, and it wasn't as cynical as I expected it to be.
Yeah.
I do feel he is still trolling in the kindest way possible. Right? Like, giving people that monkey meme is easy bait.
There's a cynicism to it that is still founded in the idea that there's hope to be found. Like, there are still people out there that are good, but we can't ignore the fact that there are literally companies that put out a bunch of bots to say a bunch of stupid shit to manipulate our parents to say a bunch of crazy shit on the internet and rile people up. Like, the two things can be true.
A big plot point in this movie hinges around the idea of this public outrage that grows after the release of the video that Superman receives from his parents, and the second half that gets decoded by Lex Luthor, which shows that his parents sent him to, rule over Earth and not save Earth. And it leads to, as you guys have been alluding to, a lot of public scrutiny online and sort of the cancellation of Superman, and he has to redeem himself because ultimately he is not just a good man, but our one true hope and savior. Amanda, why did James Gunn make this movie about himself?
Because he's a king. He's a king, Zachary. I don't know. I don't know. I like James Gunn because I do think he just kind of sticks to, I'm not going to say it, he just kind of sticks to his own convictions and like the things he believes and doesn't care if it gets in the way of what someone else wants. I even like that he's openly admitted, it's like, I hate the fact that I had to do a bunch of these like mid-credit scenes that then kind of like locked me into certain storylines that I had no interest in necessarily doing once we actually got here. Like, yeah, I got locked into something with Guardians 3 because I was supposed to do Guardians 3 a lot faster than I did. And now there's just characters that maybe don't fit and have to find a way to make them fit. So I just appreciate someone who's willing to like admit the fault in their own work and why they want to adjust it. So he'll openly be like, yeah, this used to be called Superman Legacy, and then I realized I hated movies that were titled name Appendix C, thing.
That is what it was, Legacy.
It was
you
Legacy.
Don't like that one?
I like it. I think it's a good name, but I do think, but I also just think that it's like, no, this is Superman. Let Superman come in.
How would that have played with the storyline too, Legacy, considering...
That's what I mean. There's no legacy yet.
Parents.
He's building one, but he doesn't have one yet.
But also,
it feels more like a sequel title.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you feel about the twist of the message? Because he also had to double down and be like, people want to take it in their own way.
They do.
It was decoded.
Yeah.
It wasn't fake. It is doubled down that it is. You don't think it's too much like another Amazon Prime animated series that's out right now?
Oh, that
Invincible.
one. I comment on that in my video. I think it's different in certain sense because Viltrumite, they're just doing it for love of the game. They're just out there. They're not doing it because their planet's being destroyed and they think they deserve to exist. They're just like, no, we're so good. We need to infiltrate every company or country. But already the Viltrumite are already based on Kryptonians, so it's like everything's just kind of taken from it.
I was going to say, it's a little chicken or the egg, right?
It's cyclical, I like it. I think it's a good flip up. I think it's really good way to establish that like Superman is just good because he's good and not because something told him to be good. It was really more that he thought he was also from a legacy of people. Maybe that's where the legacy title would have come in. He's from a legacy of people he thought were just as good as he was. And then to realize that's not the case, kind of shakes him internally until he can realize it's like, just because their blood does not mean that they're who made me. They're not why I am the way I am. So you get, I like it personally.
Nurture,
I think it's a really
not
good
nature is what you're saying.
Yeah, nurture. Yeah, exactly. I think it's a good flip up personally.
I think he's lying.
You think
we're gonna find out. I feel like I feel like Smallville did something like this, what I was reading up. And again, I have not dived as deep into it, that it was perhaps not a mistranslation, but not a full decoding of what it may have been. And when you have someone as big as Bradley Cooper, I'm wondering if they're going to bring something else up, maybe in the Supergirl movie. But I don't know. I feel like that does change the lore for a lot of people, that his parents were the ones who were usually against a lot of what was happening in Krypton that was bad. But
right.
I thought it was an interesting. I wanted him to hit more on it. I had no problem with people turning on him because that is exactly what would happen in this world.
Yeah, everyone's like, why did it happen so quickly? And I'm like, because that's the reality of the world we live in. We saw it. It started happening last week with Pedro Pascal until a bunch of people had to be like, wait.
Where's this coming from?
Why isn't anybody showing the clips of him all over Oscar Isaac? It is not just women. You know? Like, they tried, but they're not there.
I want to give us a second to touch on some of the other things that we haven't had a chance to mention for this movie. Whether that's smaller characters or little elements of the plot. I personally really loved the running bit about Jimmy Olsen as this Riz Master.
Yes, me too.
That's the energy that Skylar Gisondo brings to a project, but
he's so nice too.
It's a really funny bit, and he's very good in it. Were there any other characters that stood out to y'all, or did you like any of the members of the Justice Gang?
Mr. Terrific really surprised me. I was not expecting to like him. Yeah, especially when he came on screen originally. I was like, But then that scene is so, like, I don't know, find me a person that can do...
The big fight scene on the beach?
Yes, like, find me a person who can do a better fight scene where people are just being thrown around to the happiest music than James Gunn. Like, the man has mastered it, and it never gets old. Never gets old.
He loves a long take action scene with a cool needle drop.
Yeah. But even like a goofy song in particular, like there's that episode in Guardians 2, Rocket's like blowing people up all over the place, and it's to like Southern Nights or something. Like, it's crazy.
Yondu was the one with the needle, right?
Yes, the actual arrow. The arrow. Yeah, the arrow.
He had said something about he's just really good at directing things like that. Have a character whose weapon he doesn't hold, you're gonna get a masterful scene out of James Gunn.
I know, it's crazy. He's so good.
Your boy dude from Barry playing Elemental Man.
Yeah. Anthony Carrigan.
Yeah.
As Metamorpho.
He's having a good
Something
year.
Like that.
What else was he in this year that everyone was like,
Death of a Unicorn.
Death of a Unicorn.
Death of a Unicorn, yeah. But I thought he was good there. Going off of the rest of the Justice League, Justice Gang. Y'all like that?
Yeah.
JG? James Gunn?
I think it's funny.
Justice Gang?
Justice Gang? I think it's funny. It's funny.
I think it's a funny bit.
I thought I was going to be annoyed by what's his name?
Fillion?
Guy Gardner?
Okay. I see it. He's an idiot.
Yeah. And they make fun of the hair. And I'm like, this is exactly how Guy Gardner is in the comic books. And I like that they weren't like, fuck, we have to make him feel more like grounded and believable for a movie. It's like, no, make him the butt of the joke.
I was worried. It worked. There was this one where she had said something about maybe you should change the name, you should change that haircut. The what?
The what?
The what? I was like, what was that? I was like, okay, that's good. I like that stuff. Maybe a little bit more hot girl.
I didn't get a good feel for her, and kind of like she has a badass scene, but I didn't like.
I didn't even realize she murdered somebody, so they did a fake Twitter. I was like, what's going on here, bro? I don't even know. Why are we acquitting people like this easily? I'd rather not do the post, just leave it be. But they were cool to see. I thought the tech was pretty interesting. What's his name? Who played Perry? Why am I blinking on his name? Perry White.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Wendell Pierce from The Wire and many other shows. Yeah.
All I need is just the cigar. Print it.
Yeah,
that's all you need.
Everybody's like freaking
he had
out.
Almost nothing to. He had almost nothing to do, but Wendell Pierce just brings such gravitas that it totally works.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly what you want for a Perry.
Yeah.
Music was good. I liked how they intertwine the older themes. I didn't think it was too overbearing. It's like Game of Thrones, what Zach and I have said. If it's not broke, we
don't fix it. Like, you're just asking people to be like, well, this sucks compared to this.
You can't even be a Man of Steel bro coming and going like, hey, well, you shouldn't use. Well, I guess we did too.
Wait a second.
Everybody does. You have to.
Yeah.
You cannot. But very interesting to see it finally here. I feel like we're in the start of yet another phase, another chapter. I don't know what we're calling these things now that they're beyond Marvel, but the guy
flipped.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's interesting. Marvel totally lost its control over its own thing, and now DC is kind of like swooping in to like take their own path.
So you and I are more comic book fans. For Zach, who isn't, are you interested in this world? Are you curious in that Green Lantern stuff that's coming out? Who the next Batman's going to be? Are you sticking to Gunn? projects?
I think I'm more so sticking to Gunn projects, and granted, like, I know he's got this sort of control over the whole DCU right now, so it makes me at least intrigued, like, okay, this has got his stamp of approval. This isn't necessarily enough to make me thirsty for that Lantern show, although I heard Damon Lindelof is helping write it, so that actually might be enough to get me in the door. Right?
Cool.
Yeah. I think this movie was good enough that I want to spend more time in this universe. And as long as we don't get too far away from it, I will still be interested. I liked that Pattinson Batman movie, so I'm definitely game for whatever's coming next with that character.
Yeah.
I liked all the people in this movie enough that if the next thing that we got was a Justice League, Justice Gang movie instead of a straight Superman sequel, I think I'd be up for it too. I know Gunn has been talking about how he's writing something involving Superman, but that it might not necessarily be a Superman sequel. I'm intrigued by it for sure. I'm at like I'm honestly between a 3.5 and a 4 on this movie. I did enjoy it quite a bit.
I think it's only going to go up for me. I think I started at a 3.5, and I really do feel like it's probably more of a 4 now.
Yeah, I mean, the more I think about different elements of the movie things he's trying to do and things he's trying to say, I do think it's a pretty interesting, like, thematically rich take on this character. Like, he's not just doing the classic Superman story. He's trying to actually say some things about our world and how we view people, these powerful figures. So there's enough meat on the bone that I'm game. I don't know. He's won me over for whatever's going to happen next.
Do we have to mention hashtag free Jahumpar? Or do we have to make a second video?
No, we can do that.
They went to our boy Karsten, bro. They went to our boy Karsten. They made him not apologize just because he didn't mention something that the movie may or may not be about.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of talk about this subplot, and it is one of the things, if we do want to talk about things that I didn't necessarily like as much in the movie, I think one of the things is that the way they handle this whole storyline of, and you're gonna have to forgive me, I don't remember the fake country names anymore.
Moravia and Jarhanpur.
Okay, so the invasion of Jarhanpur, it is quite obviously like an allusion to things going on in Israel and Palestine. You can also make the case that it is similar to Russia and Ukraine in some ways, but they're explicitly shooting this with about a bunch of brown-skinned characters. Like, they're trying to make you think of certain things for a certain reason. And I think sometimes the way that these movies are reduced to really streamlined ideas so that they can be consumed in this format robs the issues of a lot of the nuance that's necessary to like understand them in a way. Granted, like, ultimately it's about empathy, right? And there's no case to be made against being unempathetic. But I think sometimes I think to handle such a serious matter as like a C story in your superhero movie feels a little bit like incongruous. It didn't make me dislike the movie for any reason, and I thought it was a brave choice to put it in such a wide release movie like this one that is easily going to be one of the biggest movies of the year.
Yeah.
Clark should be tried for his war crimes.
I think it was an interesting
how they showed
way.
The background of it.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting way to kind of, if anything, I honestly think the movie shows how much nuance there can be to some of those situations when you have people being like, well, you're an agent of the United States acting against the interest of the United States and going against, and it's like, does it really matter? Shouldn't it just kind of be about like saving people, like stopping all of it from happening in the first place? Just stopping it? Like,
it's also interesting to put a metaphor and see how people take it.
Yes.
Yo, why are you making the bad guy look like me? No one said no one said that. No one said.
Right.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's interesting.
It's something that's been as part of Superman's stories for the longest time. He ends up being the savior that people look up to. They had a lot of imagery in the Snyder ones. He's had the Jesus metaphors.
Yeah,
all
way
that
too much in the Snyder one, like to crazy degrees. The Jesus metaphors.
There. Yeah. He was remaking Passion of the Christ there, but I like this punk rock Superman.
I thought this movie also got a lot of the iconography right. There's a couple just really epic shots of Superman. There's this one where he's sort of like floating above like the pluming dust.
Yeah. Yeah, as somebody's driving away after being saved. Like
exactly.
Crazy.
We're thinking of the same
nice.
Yeah,
and classic floating
and also
kiss.
making that like climax too, I thought really worked.
I think so too.
Yeah, there's a lot that I really responded to.
I want to say like the look up, like that's, I know that was like a up here or whatever. Like I get that wasn't mean, but it like really worked good for the moment. I just personally really like that they showed him going out of his way to like stop bad things, like to stop buildings from being crushed or just like things like that. Because because like Snyder's really big at doing things that's like, we'll just let things explode because it looks cool, you know? You go.
Yeah, I do think that it's a little bit laughable. Fantastic Four does the same thing where they like take 10 seconds to like, we evacuated the city. Like, okay.
Yeah, but with Superman, it's cool because you're like pushing against it while it's going into the building. To me, that
made
sense.
I have no issue with him like saving people. I think that's cool that they include that stuff. I loved the moment where he saved the squirrel. I don't know how you guys thought about that.
I liked it. Apparently people hated it, but I think it's funny. Of course.
I think it's really funny.
I think it's so hilarious.
It's hysterical, but it's so stupid, bro.
But it is. But I like it. It works because it works for this version of the character.
Yeah. So there's a character that he fights, and he allows this character that he fights, who is revealed when he is unmasked, to be a counterpart of his. And people also had gripes of like him hurting that character. The way that he ends that character leaves him in a position where we know he's alive, but the action that Superman did caused this character to go somewhere where he may get a bigger ouchie than he would know. And some people see that as bad, especially considering what this character looks like.
I think he knows.
I think he's a murderer, and he should be tried for his crimes.
No, man, I think he knows exactly where he sent him. They just didn't verbalize it the way Fantastic Four did.
Yeah, look, we'll find out when he comes back as the villain in like the third one of these or something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so we are up on Superman, the latest in the DCU.